And then I'll turn. Hello, everyone. Can everyone hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me? It's Chip.
We can see you too.
Hi, nice background, Chip.
Very fitting.
I'll change it.
Oh, you're fine. Do whatever you have to do.
Did you talk to Jeff Brandy? Is he there?
Yep, and he is here and able to chair. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you, Jeff.
I'll call to order the January 7th, 2021 Board of Adjustment meeting. Could I get a roll call, please, Brandy?
Yep. Aletsky,
Present.
Brink,
Here.
Dargits Johnson,
Here.
Dolly,
Here.
Kays,
Here.
Ford,
Here.
Culhane. I see that he's on. So yeah, he is on the Teams call, but maybe just having technical difficulties. So we'll move on with Hanson as an alternate. Is he on the line at all? Or Spire as an alternate as well?
Here.
Okay. So, and Bill, if Liam,
Randy,
yes.
Liam just noted in the texting that he is here.
Okay. And yeah, I just admitted it. Okay. So Culhane. And you're muted. Otherwise, if your mic isn't working, Liam, you could call in and participate that way as well. So then, Bill, unfortunately, we do have 7 members though, so you can still listen in. You just can't participate or in the discussion or vote, unfortunately, like I said.
It's okay. I'll listen.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for being here, though. We appreciate it.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now. All right, good deal.
All right, well, we have a full quorum. Third item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from the December 10th, 2020 meeting. Can I get a motion in a second?
I'll motion. I'll second that motion.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll ask for a roll call vote.
Aletsky,
Yes.
Brink,
Yes.
Dargits Johnson,
Yes.
Dolly,
Yes.
Kays,
Yes.
Ford,
Yes.
and Culhane.
Yes.
Motion carries. Moving on to item 4, our regular agenda. 4A is board consideration of a conditional use request from Agrex Corporation. And Brandy, I'll let you take that over.
Okay, thank you, Jeff. So you guys will notice that these items are also in relation to what we'll be acting on at the Plan Commission meeting following this. And it all has to do with the Watertown crop nutrients property. And I'll pull that up here and share this on Teams. Okay, so I'll turn zoning off here so you can maybe familiarize yourself with the area that we're looking at. And I'll highlight it. So Watertown crop nutrients property along 20th Avenue Southwest and just south of Lake Pelican on the east side there. So in this property that you can see, this yellow hatched line is what shows city limits. And so this northern portion of the property was annexed and zoned in 2011. And so then what we're basically looking at today, although the conditional uses, we would like to expand it over the entirety of the property, we're looking at annexing and zoning, and this is more plan commission, but I think it's necessary background for you guys to be able to act on these conditional uses in front of you for the Board of Adjustment actions. So we'll just be annexing and zoning the south 40 acres, being that was not included with the portion that was annexed and zoned in 2011. And so, and this was just kind of all brought up. We noticed that it was not all, the entirety of the property was not all within city limits, so we are cleaning that up. And then knowing that the rail spur does expand on that portion of the property, we also wanted to get the conditional uses taken care of once and for all. That really should have been done in 2011. Prior to any building permits being issued. So just so then in the future, when they want, if they want to expand or anything, that the conditional uses are taken care of and we're all conforming in that sense. So you'll also see then we have two separate items, the A and B, and that is just separating them out by there's two businesses that operate on that property that Watertown Crop Nutrients owns, and they utilize the rail spur, but they do have different functions. So the first one that we're going to be looking at will be AgWorks Cooperative, and then the second one is CHS Inc. And what they do have in relation is that they both will be asking for conditional uses for train loading and unloading operations, and but they do have kind of different business models on how they operate. So, and you'll see, I did send out with the applicants. They've been great to work with for both entities, and very accommodating and providing information and so I requested this questionnaire that I handed out to the board, and then I did email out to the board members that are on teams, but then I'll also, I'll share it on here too. Just give me a moment. And then there are hard copies here in the council chambers for members of the public. Okay, so, and these were just kind of vague questions explaining their operations that I thought that the board or the public might have, just thinking ahead of how the discussion may go, and just to give background information. So you'll see here, and I'll just read a couple of these. What does AgWorks do? We're a farmer-owned cooperative owned by approximately 2,000 local farmers and landowners. We supply crop inputs to farmers and market their grain from them through our facilities. How does AgWorks utilize the rail spur? The rail spur in question is used by AgWorks to load and ship rail cars with grain. And then here they talk about how often they receive a train. Approximately 10 in 2020, they had 15. And then you'll see here they do talk about how it is, it's related to obviously harvest and just the markets in general. So, and then per month here they have the max has been 5, which coincides with harvest time. Per week, they're capable of loading approximately 1 per week. So that would be like worst case, or not really worst case scenario. That it's just something to keep in mind of what they're capable of accommodating. And then AgWorks loads rail cars for sale and shipment. And then how does the coordination with receiving a train take place? AgWorks is assigned a train. It normally takes about from 4 to 6 days for the train to arrive. We normally receive updates by email pertaining to the progress of the train. We can also go online to track the train and see where is at any given time. Periodically, the railroad will delay the train due to crew issues, track issues, or whether these tools are available, not always 100% accurate. And then about control, they have no control of the railroad. The railroad periodically uses our trackage when they feel the need. And then, yeah, there's the information about the rail loop and how many cars it can handle, or how many cars can be on it at one time. And then they also do have some parameters for unloading and different premiums involved. So they are on a time crunch as well. When they do receive a train, they have, and their business model is to get it unloaded in 10 hours for a better premium. And then if they do not have it, let's see here. They get penalized if they do not get it unloaded and back on the rails within 24 hours. So there is that time crunch there too. And so one of the things, actually I'm going to wait to get into that. So before we go any further, just because I feel like I'll be talking a lot, are there any questions so far from the board?
Yes, Brandy, I have a question for you. So when this property came into the city in 2011, was there any conditional use that was assigned to it at that time, or was it just listed as a permitted use at that time?
Well, and when I looked back, the conditional uses, and actually it changed from special exceptions to conditional uses within 2011, but they were all the same. So it was just a matter of what they called them. But and the train loading and unloading, it is zoned I-2 heavy industrial. So we actually just classified it under number 19 as an other use, just because it was not really, it wasn't specific in the permitted uses in the I-2 district. And so that could have been a thing that,
I'm going to say, Mr. Chair.
Yes, Todd.
So the short answer is that the city never issued a conditional use permit for any of the uses out there.
right.
Thank you.
And any other questions? Okay, so let's see, where do I want to go with it next? I guess basically, so for item A here, which is board consideration of a conditional use request from AgWorks Cooperation for train loading and unloading operations on the property located at 710 20th Avenue Southwest in the I-2 Heavy Industrial District, and 17742 453rd Avenue, which upon annexation will be zoned I-2 Heavy Industrial District. So with that background information, the board will be acting on the conditional use for AgWorks for the train loading and unloading operations. And things to consider will be, obviously A through H that we always do, and we can go, if it would be easier to go through that one by one. Otherwise, just kind of looking at the surrounding properties, which obviously we have to, by state statute and ordinance, we do have to send out notice to adjacent landowners. So there was concerns about when there's been unloading operations throughout the night. And also talking with the applicant, it's not ideal for anybody for the train to come in the middle of the night, but then they do have those time constraints as well. But if there's anything that the board wants to consider as far as buffering or protections for the adjacent property owners, there are some to the northwest and the southeast, and then to the south as well. And those did pre-exist the rail being implemented, although the city did choose in 2011 to annex and zone it as I-2 heavy industrial. So it's a complex situation, but I think just through discussion we can try to come up with some resolutions. We don't want to restrict the business. We want them to be, successful, be able to expand. But then also if there can be some protections for the neighbors that, that their livelihoods are being disrupted when those trains are coming through the night. And like like they've explained, Ag Works, because we're just focusing on Ag Works right now, how they typically have about 10 trains a year, and I don't think that they're always at night, and when the applicant comes up too, they can maybe explain further if you guys have questions.
I got a question on the blade storage. Is that new blades or old blades going to?
Well, that will be for CHS. So
okay.
for this one, we'll take them as separate actions just because, they're utilizing the property at the same time, but we want to at least, and obviously the conditional uses will run with the property, but kind of to hold each company accountable. So I'll touch on all that too and give some background on it. Thanks, so Bonnie.
Thank you for that introduction, Brandy. With that, I think I will open the public hearing in case the applicant is here to speak on behalf, or if there's anyone else here to speak in favor or against this application, they certainly can. They can approach the mic or join us online.
And then also for the discussion, I'm going to try to make it usable so we can use the hand tool just to make that easier for Jeff to manage. And if people are participating on just by calling in, just unmute your phone and then just ask the chair to be able to speak. Todd.
Feel free to come up to the mic and state your name and
Hello, my name is Evan Branley. I'm a adjoining landowner. I live at 2817 17th Street Southwest. I know myself and 3 adjacent landowners to myself are here, and I'm going to speak for most of us, and they can come up and add to. I guess our biggest concern is the amount of trains. When it did come in and we got our certified letters back when they were originally planning this area, we got a certified letter saying it was going to be more to the north of the plant and the railway. It was going to be actually smaller than what it is. And then they actually did soil samples. It was supposed to be directly south of the old turkey plant. They did soil samples, and they actually found out the soil was not compatible to build on. So it was almost like overnight they moved the building
Anybody else
site.
hear anything?
No.
No.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, that was
Do you want me to start over? Okay. My name's Evan Branley. I'm a adjoining landowner. I live at 2817 7th Street Southwest. I have 4 more adjacent landowners, my neighbors that are here with me. Trying to recap. So when we originally got a letter when this building was first going to be built, we got a certified letter. It was supposed to be just south of the old turkey plant, and the soil samples were incompatible to the.
Mute your. Mute.
No, that's all right. It was just supposed to be south of the old turkey plant, and the soil samples were bad, so they adjusted their layout and they made the track bigger. But we never, as adjacent landowners, received a change order or whatever. So it was like overnight, poof, the plant's built, the track's in. I mean, the dirt work was being done before we got the original certified letter. So it was a little frustrating for us. We received a letter from CHS. Hey, come meet and greet us. We want to be a good, friendly neighbor. Hey, a few of us did. We went there. We had questions, concerns. We met at Ramcota in the convention center. And I had talked to Chuck Sweetie. I'm not sure if Chuck Sweetie is with CHS anymore. And then it was, 1-2 trains a year. That's going to be it. 1-2 trains a year. And then all of a sudden we got 4 big grain bins on the northwest corner. And I'm not adjacent, those 2 houses that are adjacent on that northwest corner, but when those grain bins are drying, it is loud at my property. And I can't imagine being right adjacent to them. Yep. Yes. Correct. So, I mean, if the wind's blowing the right way, it is like crazy loud. And then, subject about trains. So now, we went from fertilizer plant 2 cars to 4 cars a year. Now we're up to, minimum I don't remember what they said they were at, but it's almost to a crazy point where I'm in the National Guard, and I've been deployed twice. And when I was deployed, I always dreamt about owning an acreage, have my own property, plant my trees, take care of my stuff. I wanted to be outside of the city limits. I bought it. There was nothing. I was outside of city limits. And now it's creeping around me. Nothing I can do. So it's a little frustrating when big corporations, and I understand, yep, we gotta make them grow and big, but then to hear in the introductions that, a train comes in, they got 24 hours to unload it, and they can unload it in 10 hours, and I know they can because I can hear them clunking away back there. They get an incentive to get that sucker unloaded. But when a train pulls in at, say, 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, which is fine, but they don't start unloading it until 10 o'clock at night, that's a little frustrating. And it happens. Don't tell me it don't happen. I know it happens. And then, it's okay. The trains are clunking away, but then they park the big engine, the big trains directly behind us, so that is just it's getting to a point where it's frustrating. But I do have a few questions while I'm up here. I'll try to keep the 2 applications separate. The trees and stuff, I guess I would, so they did plant 3 rows of trees, and in their application, I believe it was this application, they stated that a landowner removed their trees. I'm that landowner, and I removed trees because it was ash and elm. It was planted in the 70s. They were past their living stages. I've since put up a building. I've planted 2 rows of spruce trees to create a barrier, to help create a barrier, but I went through the right process of doing it when I put my building up. I didn't put the building up and then come ask for permission. That's the frustrating thing about this, is it's like, boom, it's in, and then now they're here asking for permission. Back in, what was it? What year was this? Well, 2011. Yeah, 2011, they were supposed to annex it all in. It was stated. They did not. Now they're asking forgiveness. If I did that, no, not a big corporation, I'd be fined. I'd be penalized somehow, some way. Sorry, I'm kind of fumbling a little bit. No, that was back in 2011. All parcel 1, 2, and 3 was supposed to be annexed in, and I do have copies of that parcel 1, 2, and 3 with me because I went to the courthouse, the equalization office, and and got that when they first started thinking about, doing this. you know, my fear is what is either CHS or AgWorks 5-year, 10-year, 20-year plan? What additional stuff do they plan on putting out there? You know, if it's annexed in, being an I-2 heavy industrial, that means all day long, you know, noise 24 hours a day. Is there some way that we can set 7 to 10, something, you know, for us adjacent landowners? I know I'm not covering everything that I would like to, but I guess one big point or subject I would like to bring up too, I know I've approached the equalization office and asked them, what can us adjacent landowners do, since, you know, we were there prior to the railway, AgWorks, or CHS, as far as a tax deduction. I know it can happen. There's property along Lake Compuska that adjoins the airport, and I don't know how they got it, but they get a tax deduction for the airport because of the airplanes flying over. I don't know how that works, but if we can make that work for us, you know, some kind of incentive for us, you know, and they said the only way that can happen, which frustrates me, is if I sell my property or other people sell their property and they lose value from what it's assessed for. I don't know. That doesn't make any sense to me. I'm not going to sell my property or to prove that it loses value, so the next person can get a tax incentive. That was. I do have a few notes here. Sorry. And I guess one of my neighbors had said too, like all last fall and this spring, you know, the weather was good. There was a ton of dirt work being done, you know, and we had no idea what was going on, but it's like, we want to be good neighbors. We keep hearing that. We want to be good neighbors, but we had no idea, you know, hey, what the heck's going on back there? What do they got planned? You know, hey, good for you, but it'd be nice to know what do they got planned? Why are they moving dirt? You know, the wind's blowing that dirt and soot and everything into our properties. So as I was reading through the city ordinances and stuff, there's the powers and duties section. It's section 2B, number 3rd bullet. You know, everything that either CHS or AgWorks is supposed to be doing. You referenced some of it in the certified letter that you sent out in section 7, A through H. Yep. But if you go up to section 3 right above it, you know, I was just reading, hey, what are they supposed to do? In that section at the bottom, it states, provided by the city, a sign must be posted by the applicant on the property requesting a conditional use at least 5 days prior to the time of the hearing. I drove by there at lunch and there was no sign posted. So if they're not even doing a simple thing as a sign, how can we know that they're doing everything else the correct way?
They were not instructed about posting the sign.
Do they have access to the internet like myself?
I would imagine.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
Brandy, the requirement to put up a sign, is that something that the city's responsible doing, or is that the applicant?
It says
But
that.
failure to do so, follow my logic, and I'll entertain the city attorneys, but failure to have a sign up there means that we don't have an issue with a meetings, an open meetings issue? If we haven't provided all notice as required in the ordinance, I don't know how we can proceed with this meeting if it's not a valid legal meeting.
Fair point. That just became effective January 1. But that was missed.
Then Matt, where are we at?
You'll have to give me a minute to double check the statutes. Obviously, the safest thing is to postpone to a future date so all the particulars can be hashed out.
Mr. Chair, if we're waiting on Matt, but if he comes back and determines that we need to postpone, I would also make a motion.
Okay. While we're looking for Matt to look for that, I think since we have people here to speak on both sides, I think we can.
Mr. Chair, if we don't have a legally noticed meeting,
Okay.
we shouldn't be taking any testimony.
Good point.
Thank you.
Yeah, this is Stacy, Community Development Director or Manager rather. I just wanted to chime in quick on this. This is a new requirement, and the city staff does typically post these. And in this case, it was simply missed. So we apologize for that. It was legally noticed in the newspaper. Pursuant to state statutes and our regulations. But as far as the posting goes, if we do need to go back and repost and put this to the next meeting, then we'll need to look at that option. And I'll also defer to Matt on his advice.
Thank you. So to clarify, Todd, I think Matt was about to talk.
Yeah, I do recommend that in light of the failure to post the sign that's now been made part of our ordinance as part of our noticing process, that we should not take action on this item this evening.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion to postpone action on both agenda items tonight. Can I do that, or can I do one at a time, Matt?
Technically, you should do it one at a time.
I'll do on the first one, on the first agenda item regarding this, is it ag? I can't remember what it's called. I make a motion that we postpone this action until we can adequately provide notice per ordinance and statute.
Thank you. I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second that motion. Go ahead, Diana, you can have that one.
Oh, no, that's fine. Go ahead.
Okay.
I think it's well seconded.
There you go.
We have a motion and a second. I think without further ado, I'll ask for a roll call vote. Brandy?
Valetsky.
Yes.
Brink.
Yes.
Dargis Johnson.
Yes.
Dolly.
Yes.
Kays.
Yes.
Ford.
Yes.
Cohane.
Yes.
Motion carried. Looking for a motion for item 4B.
So moved to postpone until we can adequately provide notice per statute and our ordinance.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Can I get a roll call vote, please?
Valetsky.
Yes.
Brink.
Yes.
Dargis Johnson.
Yes.
Dolly.
Yes.
Kays.
Yes.
Ford.
Yes.
Cohane.
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously.
So, I apologize for everybody that showed up here. We have quite the crowd here in the council chambers. We will have to renotice and rehear these items.
Brandy, do you know if that'll push us into the first meeting in February to adequately notice in the paper again?
Yes.
And, okay, so it's looking like it'll be the first meeting in February then, but we will provide surrounding property owner letter notices and, post the property in accordance with the ordinance and, publish in the paper according with the statutes and the ordinance. So, very sorry about that, folks.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
a question of staff. Is this posting of a sign requirement also related to planning commission rezoning activities as well?
No, it's only for conditional uses.
Okay. I guess the other comment I would make is that it's probably more appropriate than, for the crowd to still be there as we go into the planning commission, because we can hear any questions and concerns on the rezoning at that time. So if they still want to, they could participate that way.
Yes, they can. Thank you. Moving on the agenda is item 5, open public comment. Did we receive any, Brandy?
Nope.
All right, moving on. Number 6 is new business, excuse me. Is there any new business?
Nope.
Item 7 is old business. Any old business?
Nope.
Item 8 is motion to adjourn. Can I get a motion in a second, please?
I'll make that motion to adjourn. Second.
I have a motion and a second. Can I get a roll call?
Aletsky,
Yes.
Brink,
Yes.
Dargis Johnson,
Yes.
Dolly,
Yes.
Kays,
Yes.
Ford,
Yes.
Culhane.
Yes.
Motion, meeting is adjourned. Few minutes of setup and we'll start the plan commission meeting.